From Washington, D.C., this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Henna Zubairi. First, the headlines. White House warns government agencies to prepare for shutdown. Families separated at the U.S.-Mexico border as police set perimeter. Appeals court strikes down sweeping order to house LA's homeless. CAIR renews call for firing Fox host Tucker Carlson after his promotion of white supremacist conspiracy theory. 72 unaccompanied Afghan children arrive in Chicago. And now our top story tonight. The White House is warning government agencies to brace for a potential shutdown. This will happen if a stopgap measure is not approved by September 30th. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said Thursday the administration is taking steps to mitigate impacts of a potential shutdown. Congress is racing to meet multiple deadlines for a number of legislative priorities. These include passing the funding bill, disaster aid for storms and wildfire, and money to help Afghan evacuees. Fears of deportation mounted Thursday amongst Haitian migrants camped out in northern Mexico near the U.S. border. This was after the sudden arrival of dozens of police officers. Many Haitians traveled overland from Chile and Brazil, where they took refuge after the devastating 2010 earthquake. This summer has been marked by political upheaval and disaster in Haiti. Former President Jovenel Moïse was assassinated in July. This was followed by another earthquake that killed over 2,000 Haitians on August 14th. U.S. authorities are stopping migrants from crossing the Rio Grande River. The head of the National Migration Institute of Mexico said that they will be returned to Mexico's southern states where their asylum applications are processed. A federal appeals court Thursday overturned a judge's decision that would have required Los Angeles to offer some form of housing to the homeless by October. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled U.S. District Judge David Carter, who issued the homeless order in spring, failed to follow basic legal requirements. Carter's order stemmed from a lawsuit filed by a coalition of downtown business owners, residents, and some formerly homeless people. The three-judge appeals panel said most of those who sued LA City and County had no legal standing to bring the case. The appeals court said Carter's decision was based on racial discrimination. The Council on American Islamic Relations, or CAIR, renewed calls for the firing of a Fox News host, Tucker Carlson, for promoting a white supremacist conspiracy theory. Carlson accused President Joe Biden of trying to change the racial mix of the country. CAIR said that the racist Great Replacement theory falsely claimed Western civilization is being destroyed by immigration. The theory was the basis for a number of violent and deadly attacks on minority communities by right-wing extremists in America and around the world. That includes the massacre of 77 people in Norway, 51 people at 2 mosques in New Zealand, and 23 people at a Walmart store in El Paso, Texas, in the last 2 years. Several Texas parents have filed a federal lawsuit against Republican Governor Gov Abbott. This is over his executive order banning face mask mandates in schools. Among them is Julia Longoria, whose 8-year-old daughter Juliana has asthma. Schools have become the epicenter of debate over mask mandates, amid a surge in cases caused by COVID-19's Delta variant. The U.S. Department of Education is investigating whether the Texas Education Agency is violating federal law by barring mask mandates. It is also trying to determine whether the agency is discriminating against students with disabilities. A federal judge has ordered Facebook to release records of accounts linked to government-backed violence against the Rohingya in Burma. The Wall Street Journal reports that Washington, D.C. District Court Judge Zia Faruqi criticized Facebook Wednesday. This is for refusing to provide the records to countries pursuing a case against Burma in the International Court of Justice. Facebook has resisted releasing the information on basis of U.S. privacy law. But Faruqi ruled that the deleted posts would not be covered under the protections for users' personal communications. Facebook has been accused of being slow to respond to abusive posts dehumanizing Burma's Rohingya Muslims. The Special House Committee investigating the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol on Thursday sent subpoenas to 4 former advisors to former President Trump. They included Chief of Staff Mark Meadows and strategist Steve Bannon. The letters were also sent to Dan Scavino, who was Trump's Deputy Chief of Staff for Communications, as well as Kashyap Patel, the Chief of Staff to the then Acting Secretary of Defense Christopher Miller, and a former House and White House staffer. In related news, the head of the House Intelligence Committee warned Tuesday that refusing to cooperate in a congressional investigation could result in a criminal contempt charge. California Democratic Representative Adam Schiff is a member of the committee investigating the insurrection. He said Justice Department officials seem much more cooperative in pursuing congressional probes than they were under the Trump administration. The Protect Our Democracy Act, introduced earlier this week, aims to rein in executive power. This is after 4 years of Democrats accusing former President Donald Trump of abusing his authority. The act would expedite congressional subpoenas and would put new limits on presidential pardons. A Florida school district that lost state money for imposing a mask mandate is getting reimbursed by the Biden administration. Alachua County Public Schools defied Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' ban on mask mandates. The district has now been awarded over $140,000. This is the first in the nation to be compensated by the federal government. Nearly 2/3 of American scholars and academics with expertise on the Middle East believe Israel is practicing apartheid against Palestinians. This is according to a recent survey by the Middle East Scholar Barometer. The project is a joint initiative by the University of Maryland's Critical Issues Poll and the Project on Middle East Political Science at George Washington University. Nearly 1,300 academics were polled. Among them were members of the American Political Science Association and the Middle East Studies Association. 65% of the scholars described the situation in Israel, the West Bank, and Gaza akin to apartheid. Only 1% said it was a temporary occupation. In April, Human Rights Watch released a 213-page report detailing Israel's crimes against humanity, persecution, and apartheid committed against millions of Palestinians. In related news, former Palestinian advocate Representative AOC broke with the squad, voting present on $1 billion to fund Israel's Iron Dome. More than 70 unaccompanied Afghan children arrived in Chicago Wednesday from Qatar, the Department of Homeland Security confirmed. Some were matched with vetted sponsor families or united with relatives upon arrival at O'Hare Airport. Others will remain in the care of the Federal Office of Refugee Resettlement. About 300 unaccompanied minors were evacuated on American flights, according to the United Nations Children's Agency. Nearly 100 have already been united with their families. The World Health Organization says that the pace of delivering COVID-19 vaccines in Africa must increase 7-fold. On average, this would mean 150 million doses per month would be needed to administer. That would meet the global goal of vaccinating 70% of every African country's population, the agency says. WHO Program Manager Dr. Impoma Bonido says that while 1 in 3 people globally are fully vaccinated against COVID-19, in Africa, that number drops to 1 in 25.
As it stands, 1 in 3 people globally are fully vaccinated against COVID-19. But in Africa, this drops to 1 in 25.
Benito said only a third of the doses pledged by the end of 2021 have been received. India, which is thought to be the largest democracy in the world, has become the first country with 2 genocide alerts. One is in the state of Assam and the other one in Kashmir. The country is led by a fascist leader, Narendra Modi, who is a member of RSS, a paramilitary organization, which has already conducted 1 genocide in the past in Gujarat against Muslims. Here is a detailed report by Saleha Farooq and Asad Khan.
Narendra Modi was once banned from entering the United States for 10 years. He was banned for his role in the massacre of Muslims in Gujarat. However, that massacre propelled him to become the Prime Minister of India. He continued that winning strategy of dividing India to win Hindu votes. His Hindutva ideology wants India for Hindus only. Modi even has his own version of a Muslim ban. Indians are no longer letting Muslims live in mixed neighborhoods. This segregation earned India the rank of the most racist country in the world. Here is the Washington Post reporting about this Swedish research. Modi is so extreme that he worships guns. Here is his own website showing him worshipping guns. Or just Google it for yourself. Modi and his cabinet are members of the RSS. The RSS is an Indian militia with fascist ideology. Here is an Israeli paper wondering about Hitler's Hindus. The RSS chief gets the same level of security as the Indian president. They openly march and train to kill. It was an RSS member who killed Gandhi. Here is Gandhi's killer. Many now openly worship the killer Nathuram Godse, as this New York Times article argues. The massacre of Muslims got Modi banned from the USA. But now is a different story. He roamed around the USA with President Donald Trump. Modi even made a rock star appearance with Mark Zuckerberg at Facebook. Facebook owns WhatsApp, which has about 500 million users in India. But WhatsApp is also used to organize RSS militias for lynching people. In Modi's India, Muslims, Christians, and Dalits are lynched in broad daylight, many for just eating beef or transporting a cow. Modi and the RSS, however, do not like free media. Well, that earned India a rank well below Afghanistan and Zimbabwe. This is the 142nd rank out of 180 countries. Modi's India attacks human rights left and right. It caused Amnesty International to leave India. Women are also unsafe in Modi's India. Here is Rahul Gandhi, the leader of the Congress Party. India has become the only country in the world with 2 genocide alerts, one for Assam and the other for Kashmir. The U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom has called for sanctions on India. But Modi goes around. Rana Ayub says it's time to hold him accountable. She is a Washington Post contributing writer. Ayub says Biden has made human rights the focal point of his foreign policy, but on India and many other fronts, he has looked the other way. She wonders, will the world develop amnesia over Modi's attacks on free press and dissent in India? Only time will tell. But there is no democracy without a free press, And there is no democracy without human rights.
Coming up next after the break is our in-depth analysis segment, so stay tuned and we'll be right back after these messages.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. If we could find a way to get inside each other's minds. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize, and accuse. Walk a mile in my shoes.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Despite the development of a COVID-19 vaccine, millions around the world will not have access. We need a vaccine that's free and available to everyone, everywhere. It's time for a people's vaccine.
Our fellow Americans.
Right now, the COVID-19 vaccines are available to millions of Americans.
And soon, they will be available to everyone.
The science is clear. These vaccines will protect you and those you love from this dangerous and deadly disease.
They could save your life.
So we urge you to get vaccinated when it's available to you.
That's the first step to ending the pandemic and moving our country forward. It's up to you.
I am what hunger looks like in America. I am an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for the last day of school. Because this may be the last time I'll have lunch. Till September. I am a single father of 2 who works 3 part-time jobs, and that's still not enough to put food on the table. I was created by artificial intelligence from faces of the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger.
Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
Dad, they took over my bedroom. Come on, come on. Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. Dad! You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Welcome back. Thousands of Muslims in the state of Assam are now homeless after being evicted from government land. They were termed illegal settlers. We have covered this issue extensively on Muslim Network TV. To talk more about this in detail, let's go to Imam Abdul Malik Mujahid. Over to you, Imam Mujahid.
Thank you, Hina. While Modi is roaming around in America, situation in India is not good. India is going down, whether it's the democracy index or it is the media freedom index or it's a human development index. What's happening there? Modi, which talks so big, and he mentioned his chest is pretty big, but just got to do with media freedom. But we have someone who is willing to talk to us about something terrible is happening, and that is Assam. India is the only country in the world, which has 2 genocide alerts, one on Assam and one on Indian-held Kashmir. And this person is a lawyer, human rights lawyer, who is helping Assamese people in India whose citizenship is stripped, helping them how to survive with that. When a state is against you, what an individual citizen can do. Aman Wadud. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for having me, sir.
Welcome to Muslim Network TV. Tell us why in the world India has this genocide alert about Assam.
Assam has a very peculiar history. Assam borders with Bangladesh, Bhutan, in the other side. The part of Bangladesh today was part of the Bangladesh today was part of India actually before 1947. And Bangladesh and Assam were part of the same province for a long period of time, for 7 years of time. During this period of time, actually after 1870s, lots of Bengali Muslim who started migrating to the present-day Assam. By 1930s, the migration kept on going. Right now, people from Bihar, from UP, they go to Bombay. So that was the kind of migration. But then from Bihar to Bombay, the distance is huge, like 2,000 kilometers. But from the place from where the Muslims came to the present-day Assam, the highest distance would be 500 kilometers, which is like, around 300 miles. So these people who came much before partition of India are today seen as illegal migrants. Not today, but after partition, 20 years after partition, actually, since late 70s, they were mostly regarded as illegal migrants. And since then, the movement is going on, and people have been telling that there are 5 million Muslims, 6 million illegal Bangladeshis in Assam, which is not true. So what Assam has a system of trying citizenships of the Assam border police organizations. Now, border police does not mean that they are stationed at the border. Their presence is there in all police stations across Assam. And the Election Commission of India, they accuse you of being an illegal migrant, quote unquote illegal migrant. And then you'll have to prove your citizenship. Now, how do they prove this? How do they accuse you of being illegal migrant?
They can find anybody on the street and they say, you are illegal migrant. Is that like that?
Almost like that. I have clients, I have fought cases for rickshaw pullers, for daily wage laborers, where in the streets they were picked up and then they were charge sheeted. And then after 4, 5 years, 10 years, they receive notice at their home that you come and prove your citizenship. Now, when you receive this notice, you go before the Foreigners Tribunal and prove your citizenship. How? By showing your document before 1971, 25th March 1971. 1966 document, 1970s document. Now, what does the Foreigners Tribunal does? After the BJP government came to power, they have started stripping citizenship of Indian citizens randomly. Like, for example, there was a person called Abu Bakr Siddiqui. His grandfather name was Aper Ali, A-P-E-R. In some document, it was written as A-F-E-R. Now, the tribunal says A-P-E-R and A-F-E-R are not same person. Abu Bakr Siddiqui spent 3 years in detention center. A decorated army officer, Sanaullah, whose case I am fighting, he submitted. Now, when he was accused of being illegal migrant, he wasn't in the Indian army. He was stationed in Manipur in 2010, actually. He was accused of being illegal migrant. And he was stationed in Manipur for a counter-insurgency program operation called Hifazat. Now, when he was doing Hifazat, security of his country, the Assam border police organization was accusing him of being an illegal migrant. In 2018, he received the notice. He went before the Foreigners Tribunal. Now, he was a JCO, Junior Commission Officer. He was stationed in Kashmir for almost 5 years. He served Kupwara, Kargil. The President of India...
How many people are accused like that if they are foreigners?
So till now, the government have declared, the tribunals have declared since 1985, the tribunal has declared 150,000 people as illegal migrants till now. As foreigner till now, sorry. as foreigners.
So once they declared 150,000 people like that, where did these people go?
Okay, so what the government did, they had a system called pushback. Now they showed that we pushed back some 29,000 people, which is wrong. Since 13/3/2013, the formal process of deportation started. How does deportation happen? Deportation happens when your country of origin accept your confirm your nationality. Now, when you strip your own citizenship, how will Bangladesh accept you? So since 13/3/2013 till this date, not more than 5 people have been deported to Bangladesh. So you cannot be deported. You are detained in detention center. Detention center started in 2010. The notification came in 2009, but started in 2010. People like Narendra was in detention center for 10 years.
So, this is exactly what happened in Burma. That they strip people who were indigenous to that area of their citizenship, except that they cannot go anywhere because they have nothing. So it is somebody seems to be replicating what happened over there. What is this National Register of Citizenship which is being used against these people?
So in 2009, someone went to the Supreme Court saying that, there should be a National Register of Citizens, which was actually there in 1951, mainly which was based on the 1950 census. National Citizen Register started in 2015. A judgment of the Supreme Court started it. That judgment justified large-scale illegal migration in Assam, which is not true. Now, what happens in National Register of Citizens, each and every person, even a newborn person, apply for citizenship through application process. Now, you need to submit your any document before 1971 and link yourself to that document. Every citizen of Assam applied for citizenship. The process was extremely harsh. Particularly for Muslims, they had to go to far places for attending hearing. There were objections filed against them, and they went through unimaginable hearing. People committed suicide. People died in accident. After 4 years of long process, stringent process, only, and I say only, 1.9 million people were excluded from the NRC list. And now most of them are not Muslims. Large number of them were Hindus. And that is why the government brought CAA, Citizenship Amendment Act. It says that any person, any non-Muslim actually, except Muslims, anyone who came from Afghanistan, Pakistan, Bangladesh to India after 2014, they are Indian. Their citizenship will be fast-tracked. So basically, the people, the Hindus who were excluded from the list will get citizenship. The Muslims who were excluded from the NRC, whose name are not there in the NRC, they will not get citizenship. They will have to go to the Foreigners Tribunal. Which Foreigners Tribunal? Which did not even acknowledge President Kalam's certificate for Sanaullah, the army officer. Despite submitting that document, despite submitting 26 documents, he was declared a foreigner and detained in detention center. We fought his case. We got him released. His case is going before the High Court now, but we got him released after 10 days of detention. But there are people like Narendra who were there for 10 years. Her husband died in detention. She was not allowed to come before the foreign, out of the detention center. So basically, yeah.
So is there a chance that right now you're saying 150,000 people are in limbo? Their citizenship is stripped from them and no country accepts them because they were citizens of India. Are there chances there will be more people going to get into that same category?
Okay, so this is what, like I said that, the NRC excluded around 4 to 5 lakhs Muslims. Now they will have to go to the Foreigners Tribunal. Now, if the Foreigners Tribunal, which is actually, under a lot of pressure from the government, if they start stripping citizenship based on these minor anomalies, then the number will only increase. Now, the government is not happy with this NRC. Why? Because all this while they have been peddling lies that there are 5 million, 7 million foreigners, which is not true. They want to re-verify the NRC, which means they want to exclude more Muslims. Their target is around 4 or 5 million, which is more than the number of the Rohingyas. I have never been alarmist. A lot of people ask me, do you think there will be genocide in Assam? I said no, but then look at this. They want to exclude 4 or 5 million people from citizenship list. What will they do with these people? No country will accept them because they are citizens of India. They will become stateless. Tell me which country render its own citizen stateless. This is what the BJP government in Assam is going to do.
So
they are trying to do.
What is the status of this 150,000? How they are living? How they're feeding themselves? Can they hold jobs? What is happening to their lives?
So a lot of people, they are on bail. I am fighting cases before the High Court for them. I have a small organization called Justice and Liberty Initiative. I fight pro bono cases. I don't charge money from them because I feel that they are persecuted by the state and they are extremely poor people. So I represent more than 500 cases. There are many people who have died. There are many people, around 200 people apparently in detention center. A lot of people got released in detention center. We went to the Supreme Court to release. We released around 350 people from detention center after Supreme Court's order last year. And a lot of people are absconding, or they are bailed. They got bail from the High Court. But a lot of people are just absconding from the police. They are under fear that the police might detain them anytime. So a lot of people are under fear, a lot of fear.
Are there human rights organizations in India who have taken up that issue? India has a government, what is it called? The Human Rights Commission of India or something like that?
National Human Rights Commission. So the problem is I have always this grievance that the people outside Assam never spoke for us. Even people within the Assam, they don't speak up. The Muslim leadership don't speak up. They think the majority will hate them if they speak up. We started speaking up. We fought a case of Moinal Mullah in 2016. He was in detention center for 3 years then. We fought his case. We went to the Supreme Court. We won the case. And since then, these cases started getting reported. Today, it is last Sunday issue. It is there in the New York Times. There is a cover story. Last month, there was in the Time magazine. We are trying to tell our story. I believe that if we don't tell our story, no one ever will. We need to tell our story. Very unfortunately, even the people, the mainland Indian, even the Muslims outside Assam never bothered about Assam. Even though we never bothered about ourselves. I am the first generation who have started talking about these persecutions, talking about these violations of fundamental right, of the constitutional right that the Constitution of India has guaranteed to us. Now the world is coming to know. Now I am talking to you that, this is what is happening in Assam since last 3-4 decades.
India kicked out Amnesty International, but there must be, a lot of other human rights organizations. Why have you, in communication with other human rights organizations in India, why they are not willing to take up this cause?
There is a report called Design to Exclude. You can Google Design to Exclude by the Amnesty India. I also contributed there. There is a report by the Human Rights Watch, but this only came in the last 2-3 years when, last 4 or 5 years, people started coming to know when, NRC work started, 4 million people were excluded from the first draft, 1.9 million in the second draft. We started telling our stories. That is when people, started reporting about it. Before that, the narrative was that Assam is infested with illegal migrants. They used to call us illegal migrants. My great-grandfather came in 1870. He migrated like 200 kilometers. 200 kilometers. My grandfather...
He didn't migrate. It was the same area.
It is not migrate, actually, yeah. 1870, even I think Gandhi born in 1869. So then my great-grandfather came to Assam. My grandfather was born in Assam. He went to Hajj. He applied for Hajj in 1947. Very interestingly, the embassy office, the British embassy office then in Calcutta, they stamped his pilgrim pass on 15th August 1947. He could not come because, the steamers, the ships were recruited by the Britishers. He came in 1950 to Hajj from Assam. And he came to Palestine, he went to Al-Aqsa. Now my family members are accused of being illegal migrants. My grandfather was born here in 1890, in 1900. He died in 2002. He lived more than 100 years. This is the modus operandi. If you can accuse an army officer, decorated army officer of an illegal migrant, if you can detain him, a person, a veteran, forget about people like Mohammed Nasa who are, no one cares about them till we tell their story. Forget about people like Moinal Mullah. No one cares about them till we tell his story. He works in a printing press. He earns like $1-2 per day. No one talks about them. There are people dying in detention center. In the last 3 years, 30 people died in detention center. No one talks about it. No one bothers. The mainland India started talking when Indian Home Minister said, understand the chronology, after CA come the NRC. I have this grievance. Why did Indian Muslim outside Assam did not speak for us, did not stand with us? Only when it came unto them, they stand with us. They said that we don't want NRC. You should have protested then when NRC was executed in Assam. What happens in Assam today happens in everywhere tomorrow. We betrayed the Kashmiris. Kashmiri thinks Indian Muslims don't stand with them. I also think as an Assamese Muslim, the Indian Muslims and the Indian diaspora, they betrayed us. I'm sorry to say, but no one stood for us. I understand a part of the guilt is on us that we did not tell our own story, but the responsibility also lies on you. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So if there is injustice going on anywhere, it is threat to justice everywhere. That is what we need to believe.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Aman Wadud. Appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Back to you, Sister Hina. Aman Wadud is a passionate person who is standing up for the people in Assam, and he duly concerned about rest of the Ummah not speaking up. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That's all from our Washington studios tonight. Thank you for tuning in. You can find previous episodes and more on YouTube or Facebook. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV or visit muslimnetwork.tv. Assalamu alaikum and good night.